subscribe, hit the like button. And this is my new page. I used to do a page about the Sela Sound mostly, but if you want to get Brazilian gambling tips for the Brasileirao Round, this is your place. Now I'm going to preview the first round, and I'm not doing a full league preview this year because it kind of snuck up on me because the state championships just ended last week. But I'll try to preview all the teams a little bit when I go through these games. So this first one is a clear money pick, and I want you guys to put money on this. Sao Paulo is at home against Botafogo, and for me, this is a clear win. Botafogo doesn't have its best player, Diego Souza, maybe one of the best strikers in this league, best attacking player. I think he's a star. We saw him with the Sela Sound. Botafogo doesn't have him. And they also don't have their best midfielder, Alex Santana. He's a very good defensive midfielder. They don't have him. So I don't see Botafogo having any chance to win. Their back four is terrible. They have a new coach in here. Their coaching so far this year has been terrible. Eric is dangerous on the counterattack, but other than that, they're not going to provide any sort of challenge for Sao Paulo. Kuka, he has a deep team. Pato's debuting, but that's not why I'm picking Sao Paulo. The reason why I'm picking Sao Paulo is they have the better back four, they have the better midfield, and they have the better manager. And Kuka's going to press the living hell out of Botafogo. And without Alex Santana, you're going to see a lot of turnovers. It's probably going to be 2-3-0 if I had to guess. This is one I would put the money on. Sao Paulo is going to take care of business. Now we got Atlético Mineiro against Avaí. Avaí's coming up from the Serie B. And I got Atlético to win. And there's not a lot of science here. They just had the better players. I'm not crazy about Avaí. I'm not crazy about their roster. I mean, really, the only player anyone outside of Brazil would know is Big Town. I think he played for Dynamo Kiev. And they're going to defend a lot. And Avaí is a little bit dangerous on the counterattack, but Atletico, without the Libertadores to play for, they really should come in here and take care of business. If they don't, then that crisis at the club is just going to keep getting worse. And when I look at Atlético Mineiro, my favorite player is Cazares. I don't think he's going to play, but the player to watch is Ricardo Oliveira. Santos wants to sign him. He's the best number 9 in Brazil right now, and that's really the player to watch. I think this is a pretty clear Atlético win, but I wouldn't bet money on it. The next game we have is Chapecoense against Inter. And I know Inter is a famous team in Brazil. A lot of people think they're really, really good. They have a manager who people are liking. I'm not really a huge fan. I think Chapecoense wins this game. Ney Franco, he doesn't have a lot of talent at his disposal. I saw Hildo's not going to play in this game. That's a little bit of a problem. But I think they're going to have enough. Hedges, Gustavo Campanaro. I think it's going to be 1-0 Chapecoense. Inter is going to be a little bit gassed from the Libertadores. I think Chapecoense wins just because they're at home. This is one I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Please stay away from this. Do not bet money on this. The next game, Saturday night, I think this is the game of the week. I think this might be the game of the year, maybe. Flamengo against Cruzeiro, and Flamengo's coming off a crushing loss in Ecuador. They looked absolutely pathetic. Cruzeiro might be the best team in Brazil right now. Mano Menezes, you might know him. But the thing that sticks out with Cruzeiro is their midfield. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Rodriguinho has been really good. Marquinhos Gabriel has been really good, but Flamengo at home is just too much. And Bruno Henrique, I think that's the difference. I think he puts up a goal. I got Flamengo to win, but I am worried about their defense. They do make silly mistakes. They're not the best trained team in the world, but I think Flamengo gets it done at home. They've been absolutely phenomenal at the Maracanã. And Mano, he's not going to have an aggressive posture against Flamengo. And I think the way to beat Flamengo is you have to attack them. You have to test that back four. I don't think Cruzeiro does it on the road. Sunday morning, we have Grêmio at home against Santos. And, man, maybe this is wishful thinking on my part, but I got Santos getting out of here with a draw. Somehow Gremio is somehow going to advance in the Libertadores by the looks of it. I'm puzzled by it. I'm not seeing how they were able to escape this. Renato Gaúcho is probably the best manager in Brazil right now if I had to pick one. And Gremio's dominant. Everton's an extremely great player. But right now I got Santos to win because I think they're going to press the hell out of Gremio. I think Gremio's tired. I think Santos is good at games on this when they get to be on the counter attack. A lot of the times this season, Santos has had to control the possession, and they don't have a number 9. But I think Rodrigo will get plenty of space. I really like Soteldo. I don't think we're going to see any of Cuerva, but I think this is a draw for Santos, and I'm feeling pretty good about it, actually. And on Sunday in the Nordeste, we got Sierra. They're going to play against CSA. CSA is a new promotion, and I love CSA's manager, Marcelo Cabo. I can't say enough good things about him. I can't wait until he gets a chance with a big Brazilian club, and he's the reason why I'm going a draw here. And I don't like Ederson Moreira. He's the new manager of Sierra. I think that's gonna just kill Sierra. And my main issue with Sierra right now is no Juninho Quixada. Without him, I don't feel like they have anyone who can create chances. Ricardinho's over the hill. That's an issue. I think Sierra's best player is Thiago Carleto, and that says a lot. If I had to look at this, man, I think this is going to be a draw, but I have to be honest. Ever since CSA lost Hedges due to him using cocaine, they haven't been the same team, and they don't have enough. They need to sign 3 or 4, maybe even 6, 7 players if they're really serious about surviving. But I have them getting a draw, and quite sure about it. And then another big game, we have Bahia and Corinthians. The biggest team in Brazil is coming into Salvador, and I think they escape here with a draw. I think Bahia is questionable at the back. They struggled in the state championships against Bahia de Feira, and I know a lot of people like, well, they won. Well, they weren't in full gear. That's no excuse, and I have questions about the back four. I really like Ramirez, a young player on Bahia, but Corinthians is just going to clog that whole midfield. So if you wanted to bet Corinthians on a win and draw, that might be the play here. I'm staying away from it, but I think Corinthians gets a draw because there's just too many midfield presence for Corinthians, and you really can't play through them. Now, at Sunday, we have Elétrico Paranense at home against Vasco. And Vasco is a club, they've been struggling a lot. They haven't had too many good things happen to them. They have a new manager. He's an interim manager. They're looking at a guy who used to coach Porto or Benfica to be the new manager. And that shows what kind of mess Vasco is in. Man, but I got Vasco getting a draw, surprisingly. And I think Atlético Paranense is one of the most overrated teams in Brazil. I think that's a fact. And I think they're going to be tired from the Libertadores. I think Vasco gets out of here with a draw, and they're going to just play mostly on the counterattack. I don't know if Maxi Lopez is going to be playing. He had a really, really dominant assist, a nice back heel against Santos earlier in the week in the Copa Brazil. Pikachu on the wing. I think they'll be able to generate a goal, and then they'll sit back. Vasco is best when they get to sit back. I don't know if their good center back, Leandro Castan, is going to play. If he doesn't play, stay the hell away from this for sure. Next game, I have an upset alert. Palmeiras, maybe the deepest team in Brazil. They certainly spend the most money outside of Flamengo against Fortaleza. Newly promoted, Rogério Ceni, the manager. He's absolutely phenomenal, and I think that's the difference. I think Fortaleza gets a 1-1 draw here, and I see it going down on the counterattack. They got Osvaldo. They have a number 9 named Junior Santos, maybe the strongest player in Brazil. He's not extremely technical, but he can run. He's big, he's strong, and he can head, and I think he heads one in on the counter. Palmeiras has been slow all year, year. And the reason why they've been so successful the last 2, 3 seasons is they play at a fast rate. I mean, they hit you on the counter, they win balls in the midfield. I'm just not seeing a lot of speed out of them, and they're not getting a lot out of the number 9 position. I mean, maybe people like Goulart will step up and get goals. Gustavo Scarpa, Dudu, we all know they can chip in. But I think Fortaleza's defense is going to be stout. The center back I really want people to watch in this game is Quintero on Fortaleza. He's another reason why I'm picking them to get a draw. If you want to even go win and draw and bet Fortaleza, I would not say it's a bad pick. Very rarely do we have road upsets in the Brasileirao Round we can see. This is one of them, people. And you can get a big bang for your buck because Palmeiras is always loved by the odds makers. The last game of the day, Fluminense at home against Goiás, and this is a money pick. Get in the money truck, and I don't like betting Fluminense. They play a possession-oriented game. They're probably going to have the rock 65 to 70% of this game. But I think Goiás is an absolute mess. And I think adding Pedro, the young number 9, I know European clubs want him. He's only 19 or 20. He's going to be phenomenal. They got Paulo Henrique Gonzo. I don't know how much he's going to do, but there's enough players around Gonzo now that Pedro's back to take off the load. And I think Fluminense wins 1-0. This isn't a game I would put all the chips in, but if you're playing a parlay and need a result, I think Fluminense is going to get this result against Goiás. I don't see Goiás offering any resistance. I think they're a relegation candidate. Subscribe, hit the like button. I'll be here every round with your Brasileirao Round betting picks.